A man by the name of Mr. William Contreras reached out and said they were able to increase the resolution of the baby Bigfoot image. The elusive nature of creatures like Bigfoot often leaves researchers and enthusiasts relying on blurry, grainy images that do little to convince skeptics or advance scientific understanding. However, researchers have recently said that a significant breakthrough occurred when a man uploaded a mysterious photograph showing an alleged baby Bigfoot, which in turn caused a man by the name of Mr. William Contreras to apply his expertise in digital imaging to upscale and enhance the photograph. This enhanced image revealed remarkable details, including a pronounced brow ridge and a large nose, sparking renewed interest and debate among communities that investigate Bigfoot sightings. The original photograph of the baby Bigfoot, captured by an anonymous photographer, was typical of many such images: unclear, grainy, and open to interpretation. The photograph, taken in a dense forest, showed a small, bipedal creature among the underbrush interacting with wild deer. Its features were indistinct, making it difficult to ascertain whether it was truly an unknown creature or simply a misidentified animal. Despite its lack of clarity, the image garnered significant attention when it was first released. Researchers and enthusiasts debated its authenticity, but without clearer evidence, the photograph remained an intriguing yet inconclusive piece of potential evidence. Mr. William Contreras, a digital imaging specialist, came across the photograph during his research and decided to send over higher quality versions of the photograph. He employed a combination of upscaling algorithms and image enhancement techniques to increase the resolution and clarity of the photograph. Upscaling involves increasing the size of the image without losing detail, while enhancement focuses on improving the image's quality by sharpening edges and reducing noise. Contreras used state-of-the-art upscaling algorithms that employ artificial intelligence and machine learning to predict and fill in missing details. These algorithms analyze patterns in the existing pixels and generate new pixels that match these patterns, effectively increasing the resolution of the image. This process allowed him to enlarge the photograph significantly without the typical loss of quality associated with upscaling. To further improve the image, Contreras applied various enhancement techniques. These included de-blurring, which reduces the blur caused by motion or camera shake, and denoising, which removes random noise that obscures fine details. He also adjusted the contrast and brightness to highlight key features of the creature. The enhanced image provided a much clearer view of the creature, revealing several striking features that were previously indistinguishable. Most notably, the baby Bigfoot appeared to have a pronounced brow ridge and a large nose, features that are often associated with descriptions of adult Bigfoot sightings. The enhanced image showed a distinct brow ridge, a prominent feature above the eyes. This anatomical characteristic is significant because it aligns with many eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot, which describe a heavy, protruding brow. In primates, a pronounced brow ridge is often associated with strong facial muscles, suggesting that the creature might have a powerful and expressive face. The creature's large nose was another notable feature revealed by the enhancement. The size and shape of the nose were distinct, differing from those of known primates and other wildlife in the region. This detail further fueled speculation that the creature in the photograph was indeed a juvenile Bigfoot, possessing unique anatomical traits that distinguish it from other species. The enhanced photograph generated significant excitement and debate within the Bigfoot community and beyond. For many enthusiasts, the detailed image provided compelling evidence supporting the existence of Bigfoot. The enhanced image reignited interest in Bigfoot research, prompting calls for more rigorous scientific investigation. Researchers advocated for expeditions to the area where the photograph was taken, hoping to find additional evidence, such as physical traces or more photographic proof. The original photographer said that they observed a mysterious bipedal creature playfully among wild deer, something that caught their attention as they said that the wild deer wasn't spooked by it. They first believed it to be a bear cub or an exceptionally nimble young animal, but as he zoomed in, the creature's unique traits became apparent. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. The dark-furred, two-legged creature had a peculiarly human face and expressive eyes. Given its playful nature and interactions with the deer, it appeared to be a juvenile Bigfoot. The man said that when he focused in, He could make out a number of distinguishing characteristics, including the fact that the mysterious humanoid thing had massive hands and a large nose, and that it didn't resemble a human. Many people who saw the photos, which were posted to different social media groups, concurred that they depicted a little, hairy, bipedal creature with distinctive facial features and an odd, mischievous demeanor. As previously noted, many who saw the picture assumed that the animal was probably interacting with the deer, which didn't seem to be bothered by its presence. Because of their excellent clarity, the pictures made it possible to examine them in great detail and provided distinct contours and markings that ruled out the notion that they were just shadows or photographic artifacts. A user mentioned that they've attempted this in the wild, but the deer are extremely cautious, and it's not possible for a human wearing a suit to approach a naturally occurring wild deer that close. The photos have been praised for being among the most convincing ones we have seen of an alleged infant Bigfoot. The image's clarity and context distinguish them from other, usually hazy, Bigfoot sightings. These pictures appeared to provide a unique, reliable look into the lives of an elusive species that had long been restricted to rumors and folklore. Clear Bigfoot photos are crucial, since they may provide the only concrete evidence of the creature's existence. Bigfoot skeptics and believers have been at odds over the available evidence in the long-running dispute about the existence of the mythical creature for decades. Clear, high-quality photos could settle this argument by presenting irrefutable visual proof of Bigfoot's existence. In order for scientific analysis of the creature's physical characteristics, such as fur texture, facial structure, and body proportions, such photos would need to be sufficiently detailed. This would serve as a foundation for additional research and effectively silence those who are skeptical. Accurate Bigfoot photos would be crucial for furthering scientific research into this mysterious creature. They would serve as a foundation for in-depth examination and comparison with other species, enabling scientists to categorize and comprehend Bigfoot's role in the natural world. The discovery of these new images has sparked a renewed interest in Bigfoot studies, leading to additional excursions and investigations. Researcher funding has increased as a result of their efforts to collect more thorough evidence, such as physical samples and environmental data. It's interesting to note that the encounter also prompts more inquiries concerning the care and preservation of possibly undiscovered species. Ensuring Bigfoot's environment and welfare becomes crucial if it is real. Numerous years of research into the creature have led scientists to advocate for a cautious approach, stressing the need to strike a balance between respect for wildlife and scientific curiosity. They have also added that the more information we can gather about these creatures, the closer we can get without upsetting them. Native American legends that are evidence of Sasquatch creatures. Yupik legends of the Urayuli. Similar to the other tribal legends, the Yupik tribe of Alaska claimed to have encountered a race of creatures referred to as the Urayuli, a name that directly translates to mean men of hair or hairy men. According to the tribe, the creatures were believed to live in the isolated woodland areas of the modern-day region of southwestern Alaska. Although the stories of the hairy man contain a wide number of exaggerations, including the claim that the monsters have bottomless stomachs and could swallow humans in one gulp, many of the legends describe information similar to many modern-day Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or devil monkey sightings in the region. The tribe described the creatures as standing around 10 feet in height, covered from head to toe in long fur. The eyes of the creatures were believed to glow like the stars, and they were said to let out a high-pitched scream similar to a loon's chirp, a North American bird species. Another interesting fact about the Urayuli is their exceptionally long arms claimed to reach down to their ankles, similar to many ape-like species that have forearms far longer than their human counterparts. Though many of the legends tell of gruesome battles or terrifying encounters with the creature, it is generally accepted by the tribe that the creatures are peaceful friends and will usually not attack if left undisturbed in their natural territories. According to legend, one of the natural territories of the hairy men are throughout the forests surrounding Lake Iliamna, where the creatures are said to live in caves and underground caverns in the region. The reason for these claims is due to the strange tales of sudden disappearances of individuals throughout the area, which are believed to have been taken by the creatures. The Alaskan tribe, known as the Artna people, hold similar legends of strange hair-covered humanoid creatures referred to as the Tseten or Tsetin. According to the Atna, the Tsetin are believed to inhabit a series of underground caverns and caves that run underneath and all throughout the surrounding areas of the Copper River. The Copper River itself holds a spiritual significance to the Atna people that equate the river to represent a source of life and power. In the modern day, anthropologists translate the word Tsetin to mean the monkey people. The translation may be inaccurate, as the origin of the word would have arisen far before a monkey would have been visible to the Atna tribe. A more accurate translation of the Tsetin would be the tailed ones. Many legends of the tailed ones claim that tribal members were attacked or ambushed by humans covered in hair with long tails, seen hanging and moving through the trees or disappearing into caves and underground caverns. Researchers have often quoted that two prominent early Native American tribes that had once resided around the modern-day areas of Florida and Louisiana feature reported encounters with the skunk ape within their local mythologies that directly match with descriptions commonly associated with the skunk ape creature. This claim is only partly true. One of the local Native American tribes, the Miccosukee, features stories of a swamp-like creature referred to as the Shawanoki. Some researchers have incorrectly translated this to mean a mysterious swamp-dwelling creature, and so have made the connection that the creature must be referred to the skunk ape, of which is commonly reported in areas of swamps. The truth is that Shawanoki directly translates to snapping mouth and was more commonly used to refer to hidden alligators or snapping turtles local to the area. An additional note to make is that the coincidence of Shawanoki referring to the swamp and the skunk ape often being reported in or around a swamp is hardly a coincidence at all. Many of the areas throughout Louisiana and Florida feature swamps as their only form of wilderness, as it is nearly impossible to pave or develop any form of modern construction within swamp grounds. The other prominent Native American tribe does indeed feature a story that directly matches with reports and encounters with the skunk ape. Referred to by the Seminoles tribe as the Esti Kapkaki, of which directly translates to the tall man, the creature is a reportedly humanoid supernatural being that is often regarded as the protector of the surrounding woods and swamplands. If one was to find themselves chasing the creature, before long, they would witness the animal vanish from sight, as if disappearing in the fog. Other titles for the creature were known as the Sand People, the Mangrove People, and the People Eaters. The Jericho roadman bears. The Jericho roadman bears are often described as standing at a height of 6 to 8 feet and are capable of running on all four legs or bipedally on their hind legs. The primary location of the sightings of the creature were reported during the early 1960s, surrounding an isolated road located in the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. The Jericho roadman bears are believed to be similar to a North American black bear, but estimated to be slightly larger, with the ability to walk and run in a bipedal motion, and is often described as possessing a dog-like face with an elongated snout. Back during the early 1960s, residents living within the small town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, surrounding a road named Jericho Road, claimed to have encountered and to have been attacked by a creature that fits the description of the modern-day Dogman sightings. Referred to as the Jericho Road man bear, the creature was commonly described as being covered in thick black fur, similar in texture to the wool of a ram, but larger than a bear. What stood out most about the creature was that oftentimes the animal was spotted walking around on two hind legs, similar to a human being, but only seen running when on all four appendages. It was not until 1964 that a local reporter to the town of Point Pleasant, a young woman by the name of Mary Hire, began collecting a series of witness statements on the monster's activities. It was during these initial investigations that Mary Hire began to notice a peculiar pattern to the creature's behaviors, believing that its primary hunting grounds was located around the area of the 3-mile-long winding black top of the old Jericho Road, considering that the majority of sightings took place on the properties surrounding the area. It was believed that the creature only became active around night and was often encountered after sunset, when the creature would reportedly attack the livestock of nearby farmers. Originally believing that the sightings of the creature could have been evidence of a West Virginian Bigfoot visitation, Mary Hire continued gathering witness statements on the creature in the hopes of publishing several articles in the Athens Messenger a local newspaper outlet for the small town of Point Pleasant, but was immediately met with resistance. During that same year as the sightings of the Jericho Road man-bears, Mary Hyre published several articles on sightings of other creatures throughout the area, including the Mothman and the hundreds of witness-reported sightings of unidentified flying objects. Unfortunately, before Mary Hyre was able to publish her stories surrounding the Jericho Road man-bears, the local reporter claimed to have been visited by two men dressed in black suits that claimed to have worked for the United States Air Force. These two unidentified men would go on to harass and threaten Mary Hyre, warning her not to publish any more stories surrounding paranormal or supernatural occurrences, as the concealment of such information was considered to be an issue of national security. Fearing for her personal safety, Mary Hyre never released her stories. Many of the local residents would go on to talk about their encounters with the creature over the years to come. It was not until the early 2000s that the topic of the Jericho man-bears would become relevant once more. Researcher and published author George Dudding would return to the small town of Point Pleasant while investigating the legends of the Mothman, in the hopes of collecting first-hand witness accounts of many of the sightings made back in the late 1960s. It was during these investigations that he became aware of a series of sightings of a strange bipedal humanoid creature referred to by the local residents as the Beast of Jericho. According to those living near the abandoned TNT area of Point Pleasant, there had been a series of livestock attacks made over the course of several decades throughout the area. The attacks had progressed to such a point that many of the farmers in the region claimed to come together to hunt down the beast to prevent it from causing any more damage to their farms, but were unable to track the beast regardless of where it had been sighted. Unfortunately, as Dudding continued to investigate the area, many of the farmers began to grow suspicious of him and refused to tell them their personal stories of the beast, fearing that Dudding could have been intending on bringing more people around to investigate the strange sightings. After spending several more days studying the property lines of the region and noticing the strange clumping of sightings specifically recorded around Jericho Road and the TNT area of Point Pleasant, one of the farmers agreed to anonymously speak to Dudding about one of the many encounters he had experienced over the years. According to the anonymous farmer, it was fairly common that after sundown, strange sounds could be heard coming from the nearby woods. Sometimes it would sound like screeching and howling from a large but unknown creature. Other times it would sound like the shriek of a woman or banshee. On one of the nights that the howling and screeching could be heard, he had seen a large figure roaming near the woods located at the back of his property. Paying no attention to the creature, the next day he discovered some of his livestock had been taken and eaten by a wild animal that would leave behind massive bite marks. After several months, the attacks became increasingly frequent, forcing him to stake out the backside of his property, waiting for the animal to return. On one night, while patrolling the area on a four-wheeler, armed with a gun, he spotted the creature attacking one of his animals, but due to how dark it was unable to accurately identify the creature. After firing off several rounds towards the beast, it ran off into the woods and disappeared. Believing that he encountered something far more supernatural than he previously anticipated, he stayed quiet about the series of attacks until one day when he caught sight of the creature in greater detail. According to the farmer, the animal appeared to have been a hairy bipedal giant with horns coming out from the top of its head. It appeared to have been dark brown or black or color and would strike at the animals similar to a bear. After shooting at the creature and scaring it away for good, the farmer decided to ask neighboring farmers if they had experienced anything similar. At first, his neighbors were hesitant to openly talk about their encounters, but over the years, he came to discover that nearly all of the surrounding neighbors had experienced similar occurrences with the mysterious beast. The West Virginia White Thing encounters. Back in the mid-1960s, author Ruth Ann Musick developed a personal interest in folktales told in areas surrounding the Appalachian Mountains, and so went on to publish a wide variety of literature recording and cataloging hundreds of folktales across the United States. In her book, she recorded several stories of claimed witness encounters with a beast referred to by local residents of West Virginia during the early 1900s as the White Thing. Although there are more than a few dozen recorded sightings of the creature throughout the early 1900s, Ruth Ann decided to write about the three most well-known sightings of the area that were also backed by living testimony of multiple characters. The first legend, she was told, was given to her by a group of 4 hunters who decided to take the author camping in the area of where the white thing had commonly been seen, in the hopes of having an encounter of their own. That night, around the campfire, one of the hunters claimed that his grandmother had lost a horse to the white thing creature sometime around 1905. It was never determined what creature could have wandered into the barn and attacked the creature, taking large bites, only to leave behind a perfectly good carcass. The next legend of the white thing was recorded when the author visited with a family located near the modern-day area of Point Pleasant, on the outskirts of the town, near a location known as Jericho Road. According to the family of witnesses back in 1965, an event had occurred on their property several years prior that resulted in a shootout with the attacking creature in an attempt to scare it away. The family never found out what exactly they shot at, but many theorists of the modern day believe the legends match up perfectly with the many hundreds of sheep squatch sightings in the region. Today, the area surrounding Jericho Road has become notorious for sheep squatch sightings outside of the small town of Point Pleasant, with many farmers living in the area claiming to have personal shootouts with the creature in the night to prevent it from harming livestock. The West Virginia Dogman sighting. Located in West Virginia, several hotspots have been recorded in areas surrounding Mason and Boone County, with a large number of recorded encounters with a creature fitting the description of the Dogman surrounding the Williams Mountain. Although it is also assumed that many of the Dogman sightings within West Virginia are also Bigfoot sightings, with the state being one of the largest Sasquatch hotspots in the country, many direct witness sightings specifically describe a bipedal creatures, sometimes seen on all fours, with a dog-like face. This has led many researchers down a variety of rabbit holes, attempting to explain why it appears that such a large number of sightings are concentrated within the state, though it has become impossible to track down and verify the creature's existence. Some have theorized that perhaps the Dogman creature is far more supernatural than natural and disappears similar to an apparition shortly after being sighted. Another theory believes that something far more sinister might be occurring and that the strange, unsanctioned experiments of the United States government might be responsible. Back during the 14th of January, in the year 2014, a woman claimed to have had a direct encounter with the Dogman of West Virginia while she had been sitting on her porch outside in the late evening. According to the witness report, the woman, who chose to remain anonymous, claimed that she had stepped outside sometime around 11 in the evening to take a break when she noticed a strange movement across the street. Living on the 2600 block of Madison Avenue, she was often familiar with occasionally spotted large animals near the road, but was unable to accurately identify a strange humanoid-shaped creature standing near the railroad tracks located across the street from her home. Wishing to get a more accurate look at the creature, the woman opened up her porch window to look out from the enclosed space and to let in some fresh air. With the aid of the streetlights, she claimed to have seen what she described as a giant man, standing 8 feet tall, with the head of a German shepherd. Unsure of what she was witnessing, the woman began to wonder if she was witnessing something far more dangerous than she realized. According to the woman, roughly 40 feet from her home, there rests a fenced-in military depot that is believed to be roughly 84 acres in size. Although the depot is still an active location for the United States military, it is often ignored entirely by the local populations surrounding the area. Oddly enough, the creature appeared to have been walking in the direction away from the depot, as if the creatures had somehow left the enclosed facility and was now walking down the length of the railroad tracks. As she continued watching the creature, the security lights from the Point Pleasant depot turned on and helped to illuminate the strange creature even more clearly. It was at this moment that the woman claimed the animal to have looked like a movie depiction of a large werewolf with the face of a German shepherd. Although she was uncertain what color the creature was, she believed it to have been a darker gray or light ashy black, though was unable to know for sure. As she continued watching the creature, she suddenly noticed that the neighborhood dogs were loudly barking and yelping as if they could smell the creature from a distance. As the dogs continued to bark, the creature immediately turned in the direction of the woman and spotted her in the window. Frozen in fear, the woman claimed she felt as if she had been hypnotized and was unable to move or run away from the oncoming creature, which appeared to step off the railroad tracks and begin to wander towards the street. In a stroke of luck, the woman's mother drove up to the house, causing the creature to run away into the nearby wilderness out of fear of the vehicle or being spotted. Feeling as if she had snapped out of the strange hypnotism, the woman immediately ran down to the vehicle and told her mother what she had seen near the railroad tracks and if she had seen it while driving up. Given the fact that it was almost 11 in the evening at this time, the mother claimed she had been too tired to notice and did not see anything near the side of the road or in the direction of the railroad tracks. Unfortunately, before the woman could point to the creature to show her mother, it had already vanished from the area. Although some skeptics have assumed that the sighting of the creature was nothing more than a stress hallucination caused by nicotine addiction, given the fact that the mother had not seen the creature despite driving within 30 feet of the strange beast, researcher George Dudding argues differently. According to George Dudding, he investigated the authenticity of the claim and drove down to the location of the sighting to see if it would be possible to clearly see across the open railroad tracks while driving and while standing from the porch of the home. Dudding would later write in his novel that while travelling through the area, by car, it was very easy to not notice any objects on the side of the road, given the sporadic placement of large, thick trees that obstruct a driver's view from a sideways sitting position. However, he noted that a witness looking directly at the tree line from a perpendicular position would be able to clearly see the railroad tracks and any person or creature standing on or near them. Despite the fact that this sighting of the Dogman occurred back in 2014, many of the Dogman sightings throughout West Virginia can be traced back to strange humanoid animal sightings dating back as early as the 1960s. Dogman connection. Researchers have often referenced the reports of the Jericho roadman bears to be evidence of another commonly reported mysterious creature across the state of Wisconsin, referred to as the Dogman. Descriptions of the Dogman monster often overlap with ancient superstitious sightings and European legends of werewolf-like entities. The Dogman is described as standing at a height between 7 to 10 feet in height, having digitigrade legs, possessing the head of a wolf and an enlarged humanoid body. Although many sightings of the Dogman are often lumped together with sightings of Sasquatch-like entities, the creatures are remarkably different in behavior. Within many of the Dogman sightings, the creature acts with increased aggression and will often chase and attack cars, people, other animals and livestock, compared to the more docile nature of reported Sasquatch-like encounters. The Dogman appears to target children far more often than adults, with many sightings of the creatures taking place around children's schools, parks, playgrounds, or near residential homes that border wilderness areas, national parks, and undeveloped areas. The Dogman goes by primarily 4 different names depending on the region of the sighting: the Dogman, Wolfman, Skinwalker, or the Werewolf. When reporter Mary Heyer first started looking into the strange reports of a bipedal humanoid bear-like creature prowling around the roads of Point Pleasant, she initially theorized that the creature responsible for the sightings were the more traditional encounters with the Sasquatch creature often reported across North America. As she looked more closely at the details of each event, Mary Heyer would come to a completely different conclusion. Unlike the typical Bigfoot-like encounters, the Jericho roadman bears were often far more aggressive and animalistic, with the creature often going out of its way to prowl and wreak havoc on nearby travelers. This led Mary Heyer to believing that perhaps another creature was responsible for the supernatural attacks. Shortly thereafter, Mary Heyer would refer to the creatures as the Jericho roadman bears to differentiate the creature from the expected Sasquatch reports. When analyzing a series of reports surrounding Jericho roadman bears sightings, it is believed that several reported encounters could be caused by the misidentification of a starving bear species native to the United States, the American black bear. Unlike typical bear species, the American black bear is reported for being spotted walking on its hind legs in the wild, traveling large distances in a bipedal fashion when its front paws have been injured. It is also believed that this change in posture has been a recent adaptation for the species given the proximity of their habitats being close to human habitats. As bears will typically stand on their hind feet to look bigger and more intimidating, traveling nearby human habitation has caused many reported American black bears to mimic bipedal walking. The Beast of Bray Road connection. Researchers believe that the Jericho roadman bears could have an unknown connection with the Beast of Bray Road, despite the creatures inhabiting completely separate areas several states apart, mostly due to the similar appearance of the two creatures and their behavior, with both creatures often reported near roadways and observed eating roadkill. On the night of the 31st of October back in 1999, an 18-year-old woman known as Doristine Gibson reportedly witnessed what she described as a humanoid bipedal creature covered from head to toe in fur that wrapped around its entire body. According to the eyewitness, she had been driving along Wisconsin's Bray Road, a long stretch of road that resides roughly 3 miles east of the small town of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. As she was driving along the road, she claimed to have seen several animals running at the side of the street, most likely fleeing a large predator in the area. Once she reached the intersection of Bray Road and Hospital Road, the movements of the animals and the surrounding empty streets gave her a sudden extreme sense of anxiety, and so she began to mess with her car radio to find some music that could help ease her stress. As her attention was turned away from the street for a few fractions of a second, the young girl claimed to have felt the car jump slightly and heard a loud thud, as if her right front wheel had run over a small animal that was scurrying across the street. Worried that she could have possibly hit a small child, as the 31st of October was the night of Halloween, the 18-year-old woman immediately pulled over to the side of the road. Stepping out in the almost complete darkness of the night, Doristine took the time to look around and inspect the road, though was completely unable to find any trace of her accident. Fearing that her car tire could have been misaligned and created the jerking motion of her car, the young woman also took the time to analyze her car, but was unable to find any dents, scratch marks of misalignment that could have caused the strange thudding sound she had heard. It was at this moment in time, as Doristine was preparing to get back into her car, that she claimed to have noticed what she described as a 6-foot-tall, huge, bulky creature that stood several yards down the road staring back at her. Unsure of what she was seeing, the young woman and the creature stood motionless for some time as they watched each other in total silence. Without warning, the creature suddenly began charging towards the direction of Doristine as she heard the noise of its feet loudly striking the road. Without a second's hesitation, the young woman re-entered her vehicle, slammed the car door shut, and immediately started her car's engine to speed away. Unfortunately, the car could not start up fast enough, and the creature started to climb onto the trunk of the vehicle and slammed against the car's metal frame with several thudding blows. Within a few seconds, the car soon sped away, causing the strange humanoid creature to fall off the vehicle and allowing Doristine Gibson to make a clean getaway. Shortly thereafter, Doristine arrived at one of her friend's house, with whom she had planned on going trick-or-treating for that Halloween. Fearing that the other girl would not believe her story, Doristine failed to bring up her encounter with the strange humanoid creature, believing that her story would have been shrugged off as nothing more than a made-up Halloween tale in an effort to scare her friend. Doristine then planned that perhaps she would be able to encounter the creature again that night if she returned to town taking the Bray Road, to show her friend proof of her impossible-to-explain witness sighting. As the two girls approached the area of Doristine's original sighting, they claimed to have seen the dark form of the creature standing at the side of the road. According to her friend, the creature appeared to have been a fur-covered humanoid creature that walked with a slight limp as they passed by. The following morning, the two girls would come forward with their sighting to their friends, family, and neighbors, who would all wish to examine the car for proof of their claims. Once examining the car, it became apparent that Doristine did encounter some creature, as the trunk appeared to have had deep scratches impossible to have been made by a person and seemed to have been something out of a horror movie. Although Gibson and the other girl claimed to have possibly encountered a Sasquatch creature, many residents of Wisconsin report the sighting to have been one of the first witness accounts of the Beast of Bray Road, a commonly reported Dogman humanoid creature that stalks the region. The countryside surrounding the area of Point Pleasant has been a hotspot for supernatural activity since the region was first inhabited. Interestingly enough, when analyzing the collective sightings of mysterious creature encounters across North America, several locations appear to be hotspots of focused activity. Although many of these hotspots appear to center around national parks and untamed wilderness, like Point Pleasant, several locations appear to reside within or near inhabited areas. Another such example of a supernatural hotspot is the Pine Barrens Forest of New Jersey and the surrounding areas. Although many researchers are familiar with the descriptions of the Jersey Devil, even more are unaware of the hundreds of conflicting witness descriptions of the creature over the course of the past several centuries, since the founding of the New Jersey area. Over the years, numerous sightings of Bigfoot have been reported near Point Pleasant, adding to the area's rich tapestry of lore. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is an ape-like creature said to inhabit the forests of North America. While sightings of Bigfoot are often associated with the Pacific Northwest, reports have emerged from various parts of the United States, including the Appalachian region where Point Pleasant is located. The dense forests and rugged terrain of this area provide an ideal habitat for such a creature, according to believers. The earliest reports of Bigfoot sightings near Point Pleasant date back to the early 20th century, with sporadic accounts of large, hairy creatures seen in the forests. These reports were often dismissed as misidentifications or fabrications. However, the consistency of descriptions and the credibility of some witnesses have kept interest in the phenomenon alive. The 1970s saw a surge in Bigfoot sightings in the area, coinciding with the broader national interest in this type of research. During this decade, multiple witnesses reported encounters with a large bipedal creature covered in dark hair. These sightings often occurred in remote wooded areas, with witnesses describing the creature as having a strong, unpleasant odor and emitting eerie vocalizations. Several sightings near Point Pleasant have garnered particular attention due to their detailed descriptions and the credibility of the witnesses involved. One of the most famous sightings occurred in 1978 on the Johnson family farm, located on the outskirts of Point Pleasant. Late one night, the family reported seeing a massive creature standing near their barn. The creature, estimated to be over 7 feet tall, was covered in thick, matted hair. It reportedly fled into the woods when approached, leaving behind large footprints that were later cast in plaster. In 1982, a local hunter named Bob Anderson claimed to have encountered Bigfoot while on a hunting trip in the hills near Point Pleasant. According to Anderson, he was tracking a deer when he came across a set of enormous footprints. As he followed the tracks, he saw a large, hairy creature in the distance. Anderson described the creature as having a distinctly human-like face and walking upright. He managed to take a blurry photograph before the creature disappeared into the forest. The sightings of Bigfoot near Point Pleasant have sparked various theories, ranging from the plausible to the speculative. Believers argue that Bigfoot could be an unknown species of primate that has managed to evade detection. The remote and sparsely populated areas near Point Pleasant could provide a suitable habitat for such a creature. Proponents point to the consistency of eyewitness descriptions and the physical evidence, such as footprints and hair samples, as supporting this theory. The Bigfoot sightings near Point Pleasant have had a significant cultural and societal impact on the community. Like the Mothman, Bigfoot has become an integral part of Point Pleasant's local lore. The town embraces its heritage, which attracts tourists and enthusiasts from around the world. Festivals, museums, and guided tours celebrate these mysteries, contributing to the local economy and fostering a sense of community identity. The sightings have also sparked scientific and academic interest. Researchers visit Point Pleasant to study the reports and gather evidence. While mainstream science remains skeptical, the pursuit of knowledge and the exploration of the unknown continue to drive interest in the phenomenon. As of right now, the Bigfoot sightings near Point Pleasant add a fascinating dimension to the region's rich tapestry of lore. Whether one views these sightings as evidence of an undiscovered species, misidentifications, or fabrications, they undeniably capture the imagination and contribute to the cultural identity of the area. The ongoing interest in Bigfoot reflects humanity's enduring curiosity about the unknown and the mysteries that still lie hidden in the world around us. As we continue to explore these mysteries, the stories of Bigfoot sightings near Point Pleasant remind us of the thin veil between reality and legend, and the power of the unknown to inspire wonder and intrigue. Whether Bigfoot is ever definitively proven to exist or not, the legacy of these sightings will continue to enrich the cultural and scientific discourse for generations to come. Despite numerous eyewitness accounts and anecdotal evidence, mainstream science remains unconvinced of Bigfoot's existence. For scientists to take Bigfoot seriously as a real species, a rigorous standard of evidence must be met. To convince the scientific community of Bigfoot's existence, several types of robust and verifiable evidence would be necessary. These include physical specimens, genetic analysis, clear photographic and video documentation, and consistent, credible eyewitness accounts. The most compelling evidence would be the discovery of physical specimens. This includes bones, teeth, hair, or tissue samples that can be conclusively identified as belonging to a previously unknown primate. A complete or partial skeleton would allow scientists to study the creature's anatomy and physiology, comparing it to known species and determining its place in the tree of life. Hair or tissue samples could provide DNA for genetic analysis. Scientists could sequence the DNA to see if it matches any known species or if it represents a new, undocumented primate. Modern genetic techniques, such as polymerase chain reaction and next-generation sequencing, allow for detailed genetic profiling. Any novel DNA sequences would need to be peer-reviewed and replicated by independent laboratories to confirm their authenticity. High-resolution photographs and videos can provide supporting evidence, but are often subject to scrutiny due to the potential for hoaxes and misidentifications. For these to be convincing, they would need to be clear, unambiguous, and taken under controlled conditions. Ideally, such documentation would show multiple individuals, including interactions that reveal behavioral characteristics distinct from known animals. Eyewitness accounts can help build a case, but are generally considered less reliable on their own due to the subjective nature of human perception and memory. However, a large number of consistent reports from credible witnesses, such as experienced outdoorsmen, wildlife biologists, and law enforcement officials, can lend weight to other forms of evidence. Proving the existence of Bigfoot would require the application of rigorous scientific methods. These include field research, systematic data collection, peer review, and interdisciplinary collaboration. Scientists would need to conduct extensive field research in areas where Bigfoot sightings are frequently reported. This involves setting up camera traps, collecting environmental DNA samples from soil and water sources, and using audio recording devices to capture vocalizations. Researchers would also need to meticulously document all findings and observations, ensuring that data is collected systematically and stored securely. Any claims of discovering Bigfoot would need to be published in reputable scientific journals and subjected to peer review. This process involves other experts in the field critically evaluating the research methods, data, and conclusions. Successful replication of results by independent researchers is essential to establish the credibility of the findings. Collaboration between various scientific disciplines, such as primatology, genetics, anthropology, and ecology, is crucial. Each discipline can provide unique insights and methods for studying Bigfoot. For example, primatologists can offer expertise on primate behavior and anatomy, while geneticists can analyze DNA samples, and ecologists can study the creature's potential habitat and ecological impact. Several challenges and obstacles must be overcome to prove Bigfoot's existence. These include the remote and rugged habitats where Bigfoot is purported to live, the potential for hoaxes, and the inherent skepticism within the scientific community. Bigfoot is often reported in remote, densely forested areas that are difficult to access and navigate. Conducting systematic research in such environments is logistically challenging and resource-intensive. The elusive nature of the creature further complicates efforts to gather conclusive evidence.